Hello, hello. I just wanted to thank you for signing up for the Rehab Your Life Virtual Summit. My name is Karen Malone. I am your host for the summit, and I am a certified rehabilitation counselor and two-time cancer survivor. I have a master's degree in rehabilitation counseling, and my undergrad is in workforce education, training, and development. I have over 20 years of experience in the field of rehabilitation. I am the founder and executive director of Rehab Your Life, and I am also the host of the Rehab Your Life podcast. I am so excited to be able to bring you over 16 speakers that will empower you to want to rehab your life. As you listen to each speaker, I want to highlight a reoccurring theme, which was the need for a mindset shift. And ironically, I didn't put demands on the speakers about a particular topic. It just had to line up with the four pillars of support and services that we offer through Rehab Your Life, which is to rehab your career, rehab your money, rehab your relationships, and rehab your health. But look at God. His message is going forth, and that message is that we have to renew our minds, especially during these trying times. So, I want to share with you my presentation for the summit. The title of my presentation is In Order to Rehab Your Life, You Have to Renew Your Mind. So, let me start by sharing with you what it means to renew your mind. So, we are given this one life. We don't know when it is going to end, and many of us walk around in life not knowing what our purpose is, and that can be disheartening, especially for a believer. Well, I want to settle that right now. You were placed on this earth to glorify God. He has a plan and a purpose for your very existence, or you wouldn't be here. And it is our job to stay connected with Him so that He can reveal that purpose and plan to us over time. Now, unfortunately, we don't know how long that will take and the things that we have to go through to be able to see His plan manifested in our lives. And the fact that He gave us free will allows us to veer off the course anytime we decide that we no longer want to wait in expectation for Him to reveal things to us. So now we find ourselves off course and seeking to make changes in our lives, but we don't know how, and we don't even know what we're doing with our lives. So, have you found yourself in that position? I know I have, time and time again. But then, after a time of testing and being in the wilderness, feeling alone, lost, and confused, the Lord revealed Himself to me through my struggles. He showed me that He never left me and that He's never forsaken me. He had been with me all along through the cancer, through the loss of my child, and through my divorce. I had just forgotten to plug myself back into Him as my source each day. And that's when I just started to read the Word and get it down deep inside of me. And then He just started to direct my path. He paired my desire to build a relationship with Him with a lot of other information being downloaded into my spirit from a variety of contributors through the books that I read, the videos that I watched, and the podcasts that I listened to. He gave me the strength to move forward and the confidence to take a step and do what He asked me to do. And yes, you heard me correctly. He asked me to do something for Him. What a blessing. And that thing is my purpose, which is to glorify Him. He has allowed me to utilize my skills and abilities as a counselor to provide counseling and supports to others who may also feel off course in life. He's allowed me to use what I have been through as my testimony to show others that they too can overcome any of the challenges that they are facing in life. And now I'm talking directly to you. What have you gone through? What has the Lord allowed to happen in your life that has gotten your attention? No matter what it is, you are still alive. Therefore, there is still a purpose and a plan for your life. So, like I said, after a time of testing and rebuilding, because He will restore you, you have a decision to make. Will you take up your cross and follow Him? because this is a daily commitment that you must make. That is what renewing your mind is all about. Choosing to turn to God for everything, not holding ourselves under condemnation, not making any mistakes. And if we do, repent and change our behavior. And of course, I know that it's not easy, but I promise you that it is worth it. Romans 12:2 states that we should not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our mind, that may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And we want to align ourselves with His will. So here are 5 steps to renewing your mind. Step 1, recognize that you are out of alignment with God. We want to be able to stay connected with Him. And when we go off and do our own thing, oftentimes we disconnect ourselves and then we wonder, how did we get out here in the wilderness? So step 1, recognize that you are out of alignment with God. Step number 2, pray and ask the Lord for help in your situation. A lot of times we think that the Lord doesn't care about the small things. He cares about everything, even the small things. But we have to pray to Him. We have to ask Him for help. Step number 3, put your focus back on God by reading His Word and other resource materials like videos and podcasts from different pastors that help you to stay focused on building your relationship with Him, because He is the one who can get you out of whatever you got yourself into. Step number 4, have faith that He has heard your prayers and your requests. You have to build up your faith. You have to speak those things that are not as though they were. So that way you can manifest what it is that you desire. But you have to ask Him and you have to stand in faith that He has heard your prayers and your requests. And step number 5, be confident and trust that when you take a step in faith, that He will guide your path. A lot of times people get stuck and they don't want to just take a step. They don't want to miss God. But I promise you that if you take a step and that you have faith and you trust that He has heard your requests, He will guide your path. And so now that we have set a firm foundation on how to renew your mind, and that is something that you must do daily, let's talk about how to rehab your life. First of all, you have to take inventory of your current situation and identify the areas of your life where you could use some improvement. And that may be really hard for some people because it may be your whole life that needs to be rehabbed. And that's okay, because acknowledging the things that you have been through and that the ways in which you have handled them may not have served you well, that is one of the first steps to releasing their negative hold on your life. And after doing the work of digging deep to dispel those negative thoughts that we have about ourselves, or coming face to face with the ugly truth about the things that we've been through, we ultimately realize that God allowed it all. And, this may seem a little controversial, but what if it had to happen? What if what you went through was a part of God's plan? If He would have told you half of the things that you were going to go through, you probably would have said, nope, not me. And maybe that's why He doesn't tell us everything. So one of my favorite pastors, Pastor Stephen Furtick out of Charlotte, North Carolina with Elevation Church, has a preaching series called It Will Happen, It Had to Happen, and I'm Glad It Happened. This series really struck a chord in my life because I could really see what my life has been like being played out right through his sermon series. And so the one that I really want to highlight for you is that it had to happen. In that sermon, he shares Paul's experience as a prisoner and being shipwrecked on the way to stand trial before Caesar. And they landed on a tiny island called Malta. It was not a part of their plan to go to Malta. And how many times in our lives do we end up somewhere or experience something that was not a part of our plan? Malta is that relationship that you didn't see ending. Malta is that emotional place that you never thought you would experience. Malta is that diagnosis that you never thought you would get. You saw other people getting divorced. You saw other people losing their job or getting sick. You never saw it coming for you. And even when you are under attack, when God has a plan and a purpose for your life, you will make it to your destination, no matter what it looks like. Did you hear me? You will make it to your destination, no matter what it looks like. Because in the story, even after they were shipwrecked and they made it on land, they started a fire and Paul was helping out, and all of a sudden a snake jumped out and bit Paul on the hand. The people were kind of astonished, and they were like whispering and talking about him and speculating about why he was going through all the bad things that he was going through. And, people will start talking about us too. They start saying, well, maybe her husband must have cheated, or, if she wasn't overeating or if she wasn't smoking, then she might not have gotten cancer. But when you know who you are, which is a child of the Most High God, it doesn't matter what others say about you. It matters what God says about you. And if he told you that there is a plan and a purpose for your life that yet has been revealed, then you have to get through whatever it is that you are going through, or whatever you just made it through, because you have a plan and a purpose that was predestined for God, that God had for your life. So don't let the devil deceive you. You are not what you have been through. The key is, now that you have made it through the storm, you have to watch how you respond, because people are watching. And you and I have been saved from what we have been through by the grace of God to bring glory to his name. So in the story, Paul understands that God had told him that he would stand trial before Caesar in Rome. So he knew that he couldn't die here in Malta. So although he had this snake dangling from his hand and people watching, he knew that it was not going to take him out. Just like when we are connected with God and we're in right relationship with him, and we are open and willing to do what it is that he is asking us to do, we can be confident in knowing that we will make it through that bad breakup, that we will make it through the loss of that loved one, that we will make it through that medical diagnosis. We will make it to our destination just as Paul did. So I want to wrap up here by sharing with you the 7 steps that I've outlined to rehab your life. So, step number 1, you have to acknowledge what has happened in your life. When I got diagnosed with cancer, it was definitely one of those kind of situations where I heard like an audible sound, like doo, like, the emergency broadcast system was going off. This is happening. They said cancer. You are being diagnosed with cancer. And a lot of people are in denial when they hear the diagnosis. A lot of people stay in denial throughout the whole treatment process and everything. But you have to be able to come back to yourself. You have to be able to acknowledge what has happened. And here I am. This is what is going on. So number 2, you have to assess your mental, physical, and emotional state. And I separate that because, just like I said, a lot of people, are in denial. And so I need to check in with my mental and be like, okay, I'm still Karen. I'm still here. I know what's going on. And, I got to check me out, make sure I'm good. I got to check my body out. Am I in any pain? Because you have to be able to communicate with people so that way we can address those things. And then emotionally, yes, I'm going to cry. Yes, I'm going to mourn the loss of the life that I thought that I was going to have, doing the things I thought I was going to be able to do. But I also know that I can create a new plan. And so step number 3, identify what you need, what you can and cannot change, and how you feel about it. So even though we talked about assessing your emotional, physical, and mental state, this one is different. How do I feel about it? What do I need? What can I change? There's some things that I may not have to participate in. There's some things that I'm just going to have to go through. I can't change it. How do I feel about it? That's going to be a key factor into identifying whether or not you are experiencing any medical trauma. So this is a very key point. So point number 4, enlist the help of family and friends to help support you during this time of transition in your life. Your life is not over. This is just a transition time, but you need help. I hate when I hear people say that, oh, I don't want to tell anybody what's going on. You need help, whether it's a close family member or a friend or a church member. You need help during this time. Talk to a counselor, talk to a social worker. You do need help. Number 5, take action, create a plan with goals and objectives, and get an accountability partner. The one thing that I learned about my process of being focused throughout my cancer treatment was that I needed to be able to see myself on the other side. And I'll be honest and tell you, there was a point in time where I couldn't see myself. I was like, Lord, is this really going to take me out? Because I couldn't see further than, 2 years, 5 years. I still, want to go see the Eiffel Tower. There's all kinds of different things that I still want to be able to do. I want to get married again. All those things. So I needed to be able to create a vision board where I can see myself past this. I needed to be able to have a scripture that I can stand on that's going to let me know that I'm going to make it through. So that's what I did. I took action. I created a plan that has goals and objectives, and I got an accountability partner to bring to my remembrance what it was that I said that I wanted to do. Step number 6, stay focused. That is extremely hard during this time because you have so much going on around you and you have so much going on inside you. I had to learn to practice mindfulness, to practice being in the moment, being in the present moment, so that way I was not just feeling out of body, if you know what I mean. And I tried to get rid of distractions. I let people know that I need time to myself so that I could stay present and focus in the moment of what was going on. That is so important. And then step number 7, follow the plan. One day at a time. Don't beat yourself up if you don't do it every day. Do something on the list, something on the plan every day. It takes time. It's a process to be able to grow towards your goals. Track your progress towards your goals and set new goals each 90 days. And then you will eventually get to your big picture goal that you have on your vision board. So the other thing that I want to be sure to tell you, it's not necessarily a step, but when you surround yourself with like-minded people who are positive and focus on their goals as well, it makes it easier to be able to look back and see just how far you have come and that you have actually rehabbed your life. I hope that you guys enjoy the summit. I will see you over the next 2 days, popping in and out in different sessions. Please stay till the end of each day because I will be announcing the winners of the door prizes and the free giveaways that the speakers will be offering. So without any further ado, I will be introducing our first speaker.